All right, let's talk about Errol Spence and Deontay Wilder and Mr. Francis Ngannou. These are some headlines that have come out the past sort of few days. Errol Spence, he is back in training. At 35 years old, last fighting in July of 2023, losing to Terence Crawford. Big layoff. Someone who is an all-time welterweighter, in my opinion, in Errol Spence Jr. It's been a long time since we've seen him. He's back in training. There was a lot of talk last year about Sebastian Fundora chasing a fight with Errol Spence Jr. I never thought it was going to happen, and it turns out it didn't. As far as what Errol Spence's ambitions are or what he hopes to achieve in a return to the ring, I'm not sure. Obviously, if you're a legend of a fighter or a great fighter or a big name, it is very easy these days now in boxing to make good money very easily. And we see that with Misfits boxing. We see that with what Jake Paul's doing. It's not high level boxing. It's not anything that it's not supposed to be championship fighting. It's just entertainment and making money for entertaining, jumping in the ring and fighting whoever, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's a UFC fighter, whatever it is. And then there's the other side of the spectrum, which is Errol Spence wanting to retake that glory? Does he want to be facing Virgil Ortiz? Does he want to be facing Jerome Boots Ennis? Does he want to be facing Fundora, Barkram, Josh Kelly, all these big names within the division? What is his hopes and ambitions in a return? Because what I saw against Terence Crawford, I know Terence Crawford was unbelievable that night, but there is always the facts about Errol Spence, his eye injury, the car crash, his ribs, everything else surrounding Errol Spence coming into that fight, and how we revise on that fight. At the time, it was unbelievable by Terence Crawford. I feel like some people give him a lot of credit for that fight. Some people give him no credit for that fight. I think I'm somewhere in between. I think it was such a great performance by Terence Crawford, but it wasn't the Errol Spence that became such a great name within the welterweight division. Is Errol Spence back to try and retake glory? I'm not sure. Can he get any fight he wants? From what I have seen, yes. I think especially if Sebastian Fundora wants that fight, Sebastian Fundora can basically do what he wants, and we've seen that, like he's taking on Keith Thurman. And we've seen the WBC grant these fights. Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao. We've seen them try and put Jake Paul in the top 15. It's very easily done now to maneuver yourself through the rankings. The fact is, Errol Spence has only one loss on his record. He was the champion coming into that fight against Terence Crawford. What happens in the meantime doesn't seem to matter anymore. It seems to be, let's just pick up where you last left off. That's your level. Wherever you last left off, whether it's been 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, I really don't care. This is your level. That's apparently what we've come. We no longer need to see an Errol Spence have 2 or 3 fights to say, you know what, I deserve a title shot. Apparently, we can just throw them in. Now, it'll be interesting to see what Errol Spence does. Look, this is all based off a video we saw online of him training. What that means, what it says, we won't know until a contract's signed. But as far as seeing Errol Spence Jr. back in the ring, not saying that I was sitting around hoping for it. Will it be nice to see him in the ring? If we get a sort of 2020 sort of Errol Spence, yeah, I would love to see Errol Spence back in the ring. If we see a 2024 Errol Spence, a late 2023 Errol Spence back in the ring, I don't see a need for it. I think he's achieved everything that he could wish for within boxing. If you're not chasing down a belt, then I'm assuming you're just going to have some fun fights, if I'm being honest. All right, the other big names that are circulating is this seems to be picking up more and more heat every single day, and that is Mr. Francis Ngannou taking on Deontay Wilder. I think it's a smart fight from both of them, if I'm being honest. If I look at Francis Ngannou, if I look at Deontay Wilder, we have two people, both 39 years of age, one a UFC legend, one a boxing legend. And I will say this, we have two people that I think can sell a fight very, very well in America and I think we have two fighters that can sell a fight very well in Africa. Um, and I think that's cool. I think it would be great to see these two guys put on a fight either within America or within Africa, a big event. It will sell really well. And I want to see it. I want to see Deontay Wilder take on Francis Ngannou. I think Francis Ngannou versus Deontay Wilder makes sense for them both. I think Deontay Wilder, as much as he believes he wants to become a world champion, I even saw a quote from him yesterday saying he's got another 10 years in him. Let's not be fucking silly now. We're not going to see Deontay Wilder at 50 years old in the ring. Nor do I want to see Deontay Wilder at 50 years old in the ring. Deontay Wilder has these ambitions of becoming a world champion. For me, it's not there. What I saw against Tyrell Herndon in June isn't enough. Look, it was a nice little outing for Deontay Wilder, but Herndon's not the level raiser, and he probably took a little bit too long to get him out of there. And then you look back at his performances against Zhang and Park, and that basically tells me that it is over for Deontay Wilder, but there's no reason we can't see Deontay Wilder in a fight like this, which I think it's a difficult fight, and I'll explain why, but it's a fun fight. It is a fun fight. Two legends. Everybody in the UFC loves Francis Ngannou. Within boxing, I think it's cut and dry. I think a lot of Americans really love Deontay Wilder, and a lot of, I think, English people aren't the biggest fan of him. Obvious reasons why. And to put this fight on in America, it will be big. UFC is massive in America, we all know that, and Deontay Wilder is still, I think, big in America. Put these two in a ring and it sells instantly. For Francis Ngannou, I am surprised. I wasn't sure where we sat with Francis Ngannou. If you're not a very big MMA guy, you probably won't really know. Well, you'll know Francis Ngannou, but you won't know who he's fought. You won't know what he's done recently. You saw him against AJ, you saw him against Fury, and that's about all you know. So let's just do a little bit of revision here. Now, when he was in the UFC, he was beating names like Miocic, Overeem, Velasquez, Blades, I think he beat twice, Junior Dos Santos, Cyril Gane, I think was his last UFC fight. He then goes into the ring against Tyson Fury. Now, in my opinion, he beats Tyson Fury. I think Francis Ngannou is so unlucky to not get that decision, and Fury is so lucky to get that decision. I don't think Fury took that fight very seriously, and he almost paid the ultimate price. He got dropped in that fight as well. I think it was great by Ngannou. And then we sort of saw the level change when he took on AJ. I think AJ took that fight extremely serious, and we saw the difference between being a great MMA fighter and being a great boxer, and AJ showed that 2 rounds and he was annihilated. That was in March of 2024. Now, I know Francis Ngannou, I don't want to go into it too much. He has had some personal and family, I wouldn't say problems, I can't think of the right word. Personal things going on in his life, really personal things going on in his life, and I don't really want to get into it because it did impact Francis Ngannou, no doubt, more than people will ever understand. And then we saw him get back in the ring in October of 2024 in the PFL against a big and tough opponent in Renan Ferreira, someone that was supposed to cause Francis Ngannou a lot of problems, especially after what AJ did to him. But Francis Ngannou showed what a legend he is within MMA. So that brings us to now. Francis Ngannou, Deontay Wilder going back and forth. Will this fight happen? Will it not happen? For me, if I'm either of these guys' promoters, I'm telling them to sign that piece of paper and get this fight done. It sells really well. You can put it on, like I said, in America or Africa. People will turn out. It will be a huge event. And I don't see a reason why they shouldn't do it. Deontay Wilder, you're not going to get a massive name straight away. So why fight a Tyrell Herndon when you can fight a Francis Ngannou? For me, it makes simple sense. Francis Ngannou, I'm not sure what his aspirations are within MMA or boxing. At 39 years old, I think he's just about wrapped up his career. Why not? It is dangerous because I would say the way that AJ hit Francis Ngannou, it's reminiscent of an old Deontay Wilder. and it was brutal. So he does have to watch out for that because Deontay Wilder will do the same thing to him if he takes it seriously. Look, I think Deontay Wilder's level now is different to what AJ showed against Ngannou. Um, but it'll be time. I didn't see Deontay Wilder possess that bronze bomber power that he used to have against Tyrell Herndon. It was good, it was composed, but it wasn't hard hitting. And I think there's no reason that you can't go into that fight and say Francis Ngannou has a very, very good chance of winning this, and Deontay Wilder has a very, very good chance of winning this. And that makes for a very entertaining and compelling fight. All right, guys, that is the news for today. Lots of boxing talk, but very unconventional boxing talk. This is very much. I just made a video talking about Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. We're talking about Errol Spence at 35 coming back. We're seeing Ngannou take on Wilder. This is certainly a different era to boxing. This is stuff that you just wouldn't see 10 years ago, 20 years ago. This is a new age of boxing. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, I'm not sure. Time will tell whether this, both professional and exhibition matches between these different stature of guys, whether they're celebrities, UFC fighters, boxers, has been successful, has been good for the sport, hasn't been good for the sport. Time will tell. At the moment, I'm sitting at, it's not great for the sport. That's probably my perspective, and it relates to a whole array of things. I think the exhibition matches between legends is always fun, is always good. It's a bit of fun. I think the making it professional and mixing really, really good boxers with MMA fighters, with celebrities, with whatever else is dangerous. And I think some of these fighters are being taken away from fighting for the highest honors and legacy to let me see what fight I can take to get the most money and neglect my, what I need to do within my own division and with my talent and prowess within my division and within boxing. I think it is being harmed in that way. But like I said, time will tell. All right, guys, leave all your thoughts about what we spoke about today in the comments. What do we think? Francis Ngannou versus Wilder, is it going to happen? Won't it happen? What are we thinking Errol Spence is actually back for? I'm out of here, guys. See yous.